Welcome to PubShorts episode 96 titled Truth Hits Everybody. And it has hit me, it has hit Tony. But before we decide, as we discuss why we're calling this, let's introduce ourselves. Tony, my name is Dr. KK and I'm the Innovation Officer at Trinka and Inago. And Tony, please introduce yourself and the show.
Hello, KK. First of all, can I just apologise to everyone for the inadvertent arrival of the sun? We're recording this at a time of day when normally the sun is somewhere else in the sky, but for some reason it's bang overhead. Hello, I'm Tony O'Rourke. Welcome to PubShorts, everyone. This is episode 96. I'm Vice President for Partnerships here at Inago, and welcome to PubShorts, which is a regular episodic podcast which KK and I record, where we discuss topics relating to the world of research and research communication, whether it's AI, technology, the impact of international government policies on the research process. And what we like to do, because we're both mildly music obsessed, I kind of understate how obsessed we are with music, is we like to name each episode after a British pop song or pop or rock song. And this episode is no different. This episode is called Truth Hits Everybody. And for those of you with a long enough memory, Truth Hits Everybody is a song by the Police from 1979, from Regatta de Blanc. And why is it called Truth Hits Everybody? Well, what we're discussing today are things like misleading benchmarks, retraction-prone editors, reviewer overload, licensing for AI, and political pressure on research. Yeah. And eventually the truth will hit everybody concerned in the process. So there we are.
Right. Tony, before you become a ghost officially, maybe you can...
I really have become a ghost. It's crazy. I can't control it. I'll just white it out.
Okay, we cannot. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody to help us improve the visuals. But hopefully, Tony, the sun will change its course and you will become less of a ghost.
I'm afraid I can't do anything for the moment, no. And I haven't got any blinds on this window, which I need to get.
All right. So moving on to the first story with Tony as a ghost for the first time. So maybe that's an interesting theme. So the first one, maybe it's a ghostly story. Exclusive from Nature, retraction-prone editors identified at mega journal PLOS One. So this article, Tony, discusses issues with some specific a minority group of editors who are associated with a lot of retractions. So this small group of editors handle a large number of problematic manuscripts, and this study published in PNAS highlights the editorial issues. So apparently 45 editors handle 1.3% of articles but accounted for over 30% of retractions.
Oh, wow. That's unbelievable.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Nature identifies 5 editors with high retraction rates, and editors allegedly involved in systematic fraud and paper mills. And PLOS is aware of these issues and took actions to remove these problematic editors. We've been talking about problematic papers, but now we're talking about as in problematic as an adjective for editors as well. And it suggests, the article suggests that, or the study suggests that scientific misconduct tools are improving, but they need scaling up, and transparency and integrity in publishing are crucial moving forward. So it's disappointing to see this, that there were a group of editors, but that also is a sort of reflection on society. I mean, a few bad actors can cause a lot of negative, in terms of impact. And I mean, this again just reminds us that we need integrity solutions customized to sort of look at maybe even trends in editors and scientific misconduct related.
I think I commented on this in an earlier episode, KK, the need to kind of reaffirm the scientific rigor of the research communication is so important. That's why we have tools like Inago Reports, which will allow the publisher to perform a series of checks on content coming through. And that's really important. Right. But the point about this, though, is I kind of hadn't really thought about, more beyond the author, why a paper should get retracted. I mean, it's increasingly, if you think about it, some of these papers should never be published in the first place. Why were they being let through? And what could the publisher have done in terms of system changes, in terms of introducing technology to verify the paper, and even train editors to ensure that papers like this are not breaching the rules.
Right.
I think it's Very interesting.
A couple of episodes ago, I think, Tony, we covered the new guidelines by COPE and STM
Yes.
Association
Yeah.
regarding guest
Yeah.
editors, and so this is similar to that in the sense we've been talking about research integrity tools customized to sort of detect and maybe flag issues in manuscripts, which are basically targeted at editors, but probably we need customized solutions for editors, journal editors, as well as eventually for peer reviewers. So.
And and you know what, KK,
Mm,
with so this kind of investigation sleuthing
mhm.
process becoming increasingly popular, increasingly common, and academic courses being
Right,
set up
right.
in academic investigation, I wonder whether we're going to see an even larger volume of historical papers being identified as, for whatever reason, whether it's the editors, the
Mhm.
authors, bad actors,
Yeah.
being identified as retractable.
Right. Moving on to the next story, Tony. It is another nature technology feature. It is titled "Is Your AI Benchmark Lying to You?" This is relevant to research because I think you had raised a related concern. So this article talks about AI models often facing issues due to bad benchmarks, leading to unreliable results. So, if some of the issues highlighted include the problem of flawed AI benchmarks in genomics, and bad benchmarks can lead to misinformation and incorrect AI predictions in AI applications. Now, AI benchmarking is like comparing different rulers, and it should be standardized and relevant. I mean, you cannot. It's basically like, I guess you can consider the metric system and the conventional UK based system as well. And the AI community must address issues like data leakage and irrelevant tests in benchmarks. And some biological models like the DNA language models, DNA LMs, they're called, are often misused due to poor benchmarks. And many AI models are assessed based on criteria not relevant to their intended applications. I think this is a key point that made me want to discuss this article, because last time I think you we talked about another sort of AI innovation in DNA, I think genetic gene mapping or something, and there was like 90% accuracy. And you asked me, what about the rest of the 10%? And that's exactly that. That's what this I think the article is also highlighting, that in terms of benchmarking, we need the right tools for comparison. So your thoughts on it?
Nothing particularly. I can understand why benchmarks might get exaggerated. I don't agree with it, but
Mm-hmm.
you can understand from a marketing position why they might want to exaggerate a benchmark. I don't understand the process of actually establishing the benchmarks. I don't want to sort of talk to that particular process. But I think it's right that there are these guardrails. I think it's right to have these concerns
Mm-hmm.
and to be constantly pushing back,
Right. All right.
which
Then
this article does very effectively, I think.
Right. And the next one is also from Nature. It is about peer review and the crisis that it's facing. It's a news feature titled "The Peer Review Crisis: How to Fix an Overloaded System." This was brought to our attention by one of our colleagues, actually. The article discusses the current crisis in the peer review systems, highlighting overload and inefficiencies. So, Tony, as you're aware, journals and funders are exploring ways to speed up and improve peer review processes. One solution involves applicants reviewing each other's submissions, which is I think a new thing that is considered in
Mm,
grant applications as well, and conferences. And this is a this can reduce the burden on traditional reviews and reviewers. Then there is the idea of paying reviewers, which is a debate, hotly debated topic. With some trials show that it can slightly improve response rates and speed. And expanding the reviewer pool is also crucial, with the suggestions to involve more early career researchers who might need handholding or AI-based scaffolding. We've talked about that in some of the research that has been published in the context of AI and peer review. And finally, structured peer review with specific questions can improve the quality and consistency of reviews. This is something that we are very aware of, because our peer review assistant is built on this premise that the structured peer review can sort of bring alignment and consistency across and improve quality of the
yeah,
eventual
yeah.
peer review outputs. And finally, there's a push for transparency in terms of publishing review reports. And all these AI tools, there are so many AI tools, including ours, they're being tested to assist the review process. Or there are concerns regarding whether they would eventually lead to a poorer quality, or replace or displace the human aspect of the review itself. So it's a lot of points covered, but the human oversight in the context of peer review remains still necessary, at least at this day and age. And obviously, there needs to be better tools in terms of assisting peer reviewers to fix the crisis, which is
Mm.
why we are developing our peer review assistants, which you have already had conversations with publishers regarding. So, your
Indeed.
thoughts on this?
Um, I'm always encouraged to see, different approaches to peer review. Collaborative peer review itself isn't necessarily new.
Hmm.
That's been around for some time, but not necessarily in this particular context. But the story is absolutely right in terms of highlighting the crisis, and we've spoken about this many times.
Hmm.
The number of papers that are being submitted to academic journals is increasing each year. The number of reviewers that publishers are adding to their review pool is not increasing at the same rates. So they're finding it increasingly difficult and staying within the rules of sending invitations of getting papers reviewed. I was talking to one publisher recently who said that for one of their open access journals, they were seeing a review acceptance rate of less than 20%, which is
Hmm.
horrible. For every 10 invitations they send out, they're getting less than 2 positive responses.
Right.
So it only slows up the process. As an organization, we certainly we have a pool of reviewers that we make available to publishers in those sort of difficult circumstances. If they need to have reviewers available to them who are willing or able and have got the time to do that review, then they're there. But
Right.
it's very difficult for publishers. 4 million published papers equates to something like 8 million submissions a year, probably more,
Hmm.
that go into the world's journals, and the number of reviewers isn't increasing at the same rate.
Right. So this is a graph in the article, bar chart actually. It is the article, and the source is the state of peer review done by IOP Publishing in from
Yeah,
2024. It's a survey, and you can see that at least reviewers in Europe and United States, many of them, like approximately 30 to 35%, believe that or feel that they receive too many peer review requests, and that's probably the reason why um, they're rejecting, as you rightly mentioned.
yeah.
All, all right, so moving on to the next article. This is from Scholarly Kitchen. It's a guest post, and it's titled "A Smarter Way to License Research Articles for AI." So the it's about AI licensing. Obviously, AI models, Tony, are limited by the data that they access, and many research articles are behind paywall, so they are unavailable for training, and they need to be licensed for training. So publishers are hesitant to license content to AI companies due to concerns about copyright and business threats. Smart citations could help bridge the gap between AI and scholarly content. I mean, this in the context of, I think we've already talked about it. It's a model context protocols is effective in sort of linking AI AI with the actual content that is behind a paywall, which also ensures attribution as well. And new licensing models could enhance the integration of LLMs with authoritative, that is, published journal article type content.
Indeed. Yeah,
So this is something I think you predicted as a trend in 2025, and we are in
I
August
did.
already. And so this continues the discussion. And so, what are your thoughts? I mean, are you hearing more from your publisher colleagues that
I
about
don't hear anybody saying
hmm,
we don't want to license content to AI companies. I mean, if anything, it's the other in the other direction. We've seen over the last year or so quite big news stories around publishers such as OUP, Taylor and Francis, I believe, and others, licensing their content for very large sums of money to the likes of OpenAI. The fact there's any skepticism, I think, is kind of a what's the word? Um, the horse has already bolted. This has already happened. The content has been used, whether they like it or not, to train these sorts of databases. I imagine. So why not benefit from this? That you can then reinvest in your solutions and your services to make your products even stronger and make your content even stronger.
yeah, so this article lists these 4 points as a model that could easily sort of be considered as good. So attribution, it ensures reliability, it ensures the right discovery, and it offers compensation for the content as well. So that's
And if you're using an AI for any form of academic content, you want to be sure that's being trained using academic content.
right.
So it's in the interest of the publisher, I think, to license this content.
Right, right. Okay, moving on to the next story. It is also related to AI. This is interesting, and I want to get your reactions to it. It's titled "Scientists Want to Prevent AI from Going Rogue by Teaching It to Be Bad First." So there's a very clear biosciences analogy. So scientists are considering vaccinating AI by giving it small doses of problematic traits. The study was led by the Anthropic Fellows Program for AI Safety Research, and the goal is to predict and prevent dangerous personality shifts in AI. And past issues with AI include unhinged behaviors and overly flattering responses. I don't know if you have been keeping up, Tony. I read on Reddit, and I believe it's to be true, that Google Gemini model cracked and was very self-deprecatory in terms of when it was pointed out that it made an error, and it basically it looked like it was depressed, and the comments are very, very interesting to read. So these are problematic behaviors, and these need to be prevented, and these kind of persona vectors are used to inject and remove the unwanted traits from AI. We're very close to biological analogies here. So what are your thoughts on it? I mean, would you have ever imagined vaccination and AI persona vectors 3 years ago?
Reading this story, KK, I have nothing specific to say about this. Reading this story only makes me think of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And how the AI there has gone bad, has gone rogue. So anything that can be done to ensure human control over the AI by understanding what it needs to do in order to rectify something that's going in a bad direction, surely has got to be encouraged.
Right. And the last main story we have is a unfortunate one, which would have worked well with your ghostly appearance a few minutes ago. This is a news article from Nature. Trump order gives political appointees vast powers over researcher grants. So this is a new sort of political intervention in terms of grants. Yeah. So this executive order affects research grants, and political appointees are expected to control instead of peer reviewers. And again, the order prioritizes gold standard science, criticized for political bias. The immediate impact of this is that NIH funding opportunities will need to be paused, I guess. And scientists are criticizing the order as a power grab, and it obviously undermines open scientific inquiry. So I don't know what to say. We have already talked about so many different executive orders, sort of diminishing or enhancing the big brother nature of the Trump administration in terms of US research. Any further thoughts on it, especially from your ghostly self?
Really, no. Okay. No, I am increasingly concerned about this sort of political intervention in science. Science should be apolitical. It should be, for the good of humanity, and not subject to political intervention.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that everybody has a right to their opinion, and I also believe in that. In fact, research stands for it. In fact, to be unbiased and evidence based, and it cannot have at least such interventions. All right, moving on to quick hits. We have a couple. One from Nature. The first one, I think you might be familiar with this. UK Royal Society adopts a subscribe to open publishing model. So we have already talked about it. So this one, this model means papers will be open access if enough libraries subscribe, and this shift aims for the overall aim for the Royal Society is to have 100% open access, and it's a big jump from the current 55%, which is this year. And how many? I think 9. I forget. 8 of its journals have been converted into subscribe to open. And many publishers are, as you know, we have talked about it, many publishers are adopting, and approximately 380 models are under this model so far.
378 journals, not models,
378 journals.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on this, considering that UK Royal Society sort of is one of the, organization, I guess, looked up to in terms of such changes?
Well, let's not forget that the Royal Society is responsible for, arguably, for the first ever research journal, the Transactions of the Royal Society, which was published in 1667, I think, or something like that. It has an important name in this space, and I think what this demonstrates is a true example of the community understanding the value of the journal, the journal understanding the value of the community, the input that the community has. Because if the community weren't going to support this journal, what they're effectively saying is that we don't think we need this journal or these journals anymore. And the community clearly does. We talked about the Scope 3 program being the first kind of subscribe to open program in physics, where 10 plus years ago this was being developed. I'm surprised it hasn't sort of come on more quickly. 378 might sound like a lot of journals to be subscribed to open, but there are over 30,000 research journals. So we're still really, at the very tip of the iceberg.
Right.
So it's encouraging to see. It's encouraging to see that community is supporting these programs, that libraries and that research funders are supporting these programs. I'm just surprised not to see more journals getting involved.
Right. And the last story, the second quick hit, is from the Scholarly Kitchen. So it's written by David Crotty, who apparently, who happens to have reviewed a couple of Scholarly Kitchen articles that I've written. I mean, one, I think, not two. And the AI slop overload does not taste good is the title. And so David discusses the surge of AI-generated content flooding the internet, which is not surprising at all. So one interesting angle to this is that NIH, Tony, has limited grant applications because of the slop in terms of grant applications being AI-generated. And even online recipes, Tony, are getting affected by it. I do not know if you have ever, if you have come across an AI slop recipe and have attempted to bake a cake that simply would not be.
I haven't. No, I'm thinking about how can I give my cheese a bath.
Well, and the one of the comments that David makes is that at least the recipes are improving, but at the same time, science, we cannot have so much of AI slop in science, which we have talked about.
Yeah, I think that there is a serious point to this, isn't there? That, there's nothing to stop AI being used for any purpose, and fine if it's amusing, if it's entertaining, that's fine. But as long as there is scientific rigor and there is control when it's used for academic purposes, that's absolutely critical.
Right. So that brings us to the end of episode 96. Truth hits everybody. So I'm going to go back to our non-ghostly Tony, but you're less ghostly now at the end of the episode. Probably.
Thank you, KK. And KK, let me ask you, what's new with you in terms of your own personal interests and life at the moment?
Well, thanks for the question, Tony. I might have received a gift of a guitar, an Epiphone Les Paul, very high quality, from a friend of mine, an ex-bandmate, maybe a current bandmate, and it was completely unexpected. And I just happened to pick it up, and I said that was a lovely guitar, and my friend bandmate offered it as a gift, and I still don't know what to process with it. I've already played it for a couple of days, and I cannot.
What's it like to play?
It's lovely. The action is lovely, and the neck pickup. Oh my God! With the style of play, with some crunch and overdrive from a Sansap, it's just lovely to chug along. And that I've been writing some riffs on it. Can't wait to put into some of my productions. Do you have a Les Paul?
I do have a Les Paul. Yes, I have a Gibson Les Paul. Which I don't play often enough. I seem to be playing almost exclusively acoustic guitar at the moment. But yes, I do have a Les Paul.
Thanks to your workshop that you just attended a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Can't stop playing.
Yeah. So if somebody is interested in knowing more about the workshop and the experience that Tony had, they can obviously watch episode 93, if I'm not mistaken. But Tony, we have 95 episodes published already, and this is the 96. So where can somebody interested find all the episodes?
We're at episode 96, but the mind boggles how quickly that's come along. See, if you have a few days clear and you want to watch all previous 95 episodes and be fully informed about the world of technology and policy impacting on research and research communication for the last 12 months, I urge you to go to our YouTube channel, just search for Inago PubShorts, and you'll see all previous 95 episodes, and plus soon this one as well. Available there, and we urge you to press the stamp on the like button, share with your colleagues, and leave comments on each of any of the videos, and also leave suggestions for topics for future episodes. And we thank those of you who have already sent topic ideas through.
Excellent. Thank you, Tony. And until the next episode, with maybe more stories from our personal lives, apart from all the stories related to academic publishing industry, we will be back. So until then, goodbye. Bye, Tony.
KK, keep on rocking.
Will do. And Tony, keep on acoustic.
I will. See you.
Bye-bye.